All right. So hello, everyone. My name is Eric. Since Adam doesn't seem to be joining today, I'll be the host for today's meeting. Today's Thursday, March 20th, and I'm going to share the agenda. I think it's going to be fairly quick. Let me share the screen. Which one is it? Oh yeah, this one. Right. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Oh, so let's start with the introduction. Anyone new today on the meeting who would like to introduce themselves? What is the desired outcome for you joining this meeting? Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Stephen Smoogen. I getting interested into Konflux for building things in the for a project called Rama Llama, but I also see its usage in Fedora, and I am interested in how that is being set up and dealt with. So the community looked like a interesting place to start learning more about the whole project.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, please go ahead, Dheeraj.
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Dheeraj, and the reason why I'm here is because I've been looking at some conversations around Google Summer of Code and Conflux, and that's interesting to me because I did intern with Jenkins project as part of the same program, Google Summer of Code, a few years ago, and I benefited greatly from that time period. And I'm really sure that Conflux is going to get benefited as well, and also the applicants who get selected as part of that program and work with us eventually. So I just want to help out in any way I can for this initiative, and that's the reason why I'm here. That's all. Thanks.
Cool. I'm very glad that you mentioned it. So it's on today's agenda. We'll cover some of this. So yeah, amazing. All right. So we can immediately connect to what you just said, Dheeraj. So there were a couple of mentions of how we can expand when it comes to communities, how we can reach various kinds of audiences. One of the things that were mentioned are ways of connecting where allowing junior programmers or students to actually get involved with open source. So Google Summer of Code naturally comes to mind as an amazing opportunity for this. There are other programs like that. A similar one is Outreachy. So you can find some notes from Ralph, who's been dealing and involved with Outreachy programs in the past. So that is covered in the agenda of the last meeting. And today, because that was a topic that was carried over, I have some updates on the Google Summer of Code, what it actually takes, or what it would take for Konflux to participate. So I listed some of the critical eligibility rules that an organization must run an active and viable open source software project. So that's what we're currently doing. So I don't see a problem there. We're also producing and releasing software under an approved license. So also no problem there. And we just need to sort out, because I'm really not sure if anyone has really discussed it, but I don't think that the last one about the eligibility or being based in a country which is embargoed by the United States, is something that is going to affect us. But honestly, I don't know where we perceive Konflux to be officially based at. Anyway, since the eligibility is, we're fine on the eligibility side of things. When it comes to other organizational things, we need to have 2 to 5 org admins. Because Konflux is a big organization, I would say that more than 2 is going to be very beneficial, because admins have additional responsibilities, like if there aren't enough mentors for a particular project and you get funding for a student, they automatically have to step in and cover whatever project was approved by Google but doesn't really have enough mentors participating. Or in case a mentor drops out for whatever reasons, temporarily or completely, they have to again step in. So because, like I said, Konflux is a big project, we will need ideally 3 or 4 designated org admins. Now, when it comes to the actual projects, it's good to have in mind that the time allocation when it comes to projects ranges from small to large. You can see it in the meeting notes that they basically just differentiate between small and large project. They have some leeway when it comes to configuring these. So there are like ranges for each category. The standard is the default number listed in there. So for small project, it's 8, and for medium, it's 12. 12 weeks. So that's the standard allocation. Sorry. Important to note is that everyone starts coding at the same time. And that's, I think, because we're already past this year's GSOC submission. So this is just information to keep in mind. Be ready and prepared to apply next year. Like I said, there doesn't seem to be anything blocking us from applying to participate. Now, another program that is similar to GSOC is, and also run by Google, is Google Season of Docs. And we also know that there is much room for improvement when it comes to Konflux Docs. So that will be also beneficial. However, when it comes to the project or program from Google itself, that one works very differently to standard Google Summer of Code, because unlike GSOC, where you actually hire students and Google is covering their stipend, with Google Season of Docs, you get the funding directly from Google. I listed the range which I got from the formal documents. So there's a range that you as an organization then use to hire professional document writers, technical writers, sorry. So this one will have significant impact on our organizational working and the administration tasks, because you will need to have because we are a non-profit organization, you need a transparent account for that. It needs to be registered somewhere. Most likely you will need an accountant. So you are handling all the formalities as an organization yourself. So this is still for, up for a discussion, but I don't think we are at this point in time mature enough to be even considering this, but I might be wrong there. So I'm just mentioning what, the facts. And that's basically it for the program updates. Before we move on to the last point, any questions or any notes remarks that you would like to raise? Please go ahead.
Right, so this is helpful. Just wanted to add one more thing, that in GSOC we have this evaluations that that happens twice per program length. So one happens in the middle, then the last one happens at the end of the time period. So if during the first evaluation we find that the contributor is not performing as expected, we can actually fail them and then it ends. Just wanted to add that, and this is the link that describes this whole process. And other than that, I had one more question, that how are we going to plan to reach out to the interested applicants about joining our, contributing to our project ideas in GSOC? So how do we reach out to them? What are the different areas where we can add posts or anything? Did we think about that yet?
No. So okay. To a small extent, I would say yes. So again, you actually have very good remarks, Dheeraj. So again, ties to the next point in the agenda when it comes to blogging. So blogs are one of the ways we could achieve this, but at the same time, last time we discussed this topic, we said for now, it would be probably the easiest to just host the projects and have them listed on the main community, Konflux community repo. We are at the moment, we are quite limited with the region. This is how we can actually improve it. Once you are a well-established player, then it's not as difficult to reach out to students. But when you're the first time applicant, things are a bit harder. So without blogging, I guess it's up to students listing the projects when actually applying and being interested in the container world in general. So yeah, that's as far as I can think of right now. Like we need to set up those blogs so that we can at least get some kind of exposure, and naturally mention this also during conference talks. At the end of each talk, mention that, oh yeah, we are trying to build a community. So if you're interested, feel free to reach out to us here. And we're also planning on running a GSOC program. So any other suggestions other than blogs, conference talks, and just leaving it to mere discovery of students trying to figure out what a good project for application would be? Go ahead, just speak up, so that I don't have to switch the screens. Oh, am I not sharing the screen anymore?
Nope, not currently, but it's okay.
Nope.
One of the
All right.
things we could do is more outreach direct to colleges. I know that the office in India has connections with a college and are looking at doing like a GSOC style effort directly with the college. I have some docs on it, I can share them. But we could look at that with other colleges as well. Like previously mentioned with SETU, we will be looking at getting them to use Konflux and then potentially contribute. So we could do more of those smaller GSOC efforts, at least to try and get us prepared for GSOC.
Interesting. Yeah, definitely. Definitely makes sense. So Red Hat as a company has very good connections, and since Red Hat has a very big stake at this project, it has connections in to Brno, Czech Republic, local universities. So we could try finding also ways how to reach out to them. So I can look into that myself, being located in Brno as well. So I can talk to a few people and see where that gets us. If not anything, when it comes to directly participating on Konflux, we can at least advertise the GSOC programs on the university grounds and mention Konflux as one of the projects. So that's very much possible. Yeah, we have these marketing stuff for projects where students could participate all around the campus. When I look back at my student years. So yeah, good suggestion. Let me put it into the notes.
And in my case, I get all my updates about what's happening with Jenkins and the GSOC program via LinkedIn. So because our target audience are the students who are interested to contribute and start their open source contribution, also the professionals who are all new to open source contributions. So good chunk of them, I think, are there on LinkedIn, but it cannot be generalized because some people are not there at all. So that's fine. But I've seen lots of students being there because they need to reach out and connect. That's why. So having a dedicated page of Konflux there, which sends out the updates like, hey, we are participating, and hey, we have this office hours going on. Join us if you have any questions, or we have these project ideas that have been selected. Something like recurring blog post getting advertised there would be a good way to let people know about what we're doing. But I'm not sure if Konflux has their own LinkedIn page or not. But just a thought.
So yeah, good question. I don't think so. No, sadly we don't have Ralph or Andrew, who would actually have the authoritative answer to this question. So let me follow up on that and see if we can do that. In the meantime, before I finish, or as I'm finishing writing one of the notes, Dheeraj, can you put your idea to the list, please, so that I don't, misword it or misphrase it?
Sure, I will. And one of the other things that really helped me as a contributor during that time was Jenkins organized this GSOC office hours even before uh, the coding period started. So that's when they're like, hey, we have these projects that got selected as part of GSOC this year. If you want to know what they are, we have our mentors in the call. You can ask the questions directly to them. So then the contributors join in and then ask the questions about the project if they have anything else than what's listed there. And that's a really good exchange between the mentors and the potential contributors even before the coding period started. And then even we continue it till the end of the program. And while the program is running, we have this weekly GSOC office hours where we just kind of ask if they have any blockers or something. All the contributors come up and share their progress, something like that, to keep them in check. So that's
So the last part is actually required by the
Nice.
rules, if I'm not mistaken. So having worked as a GSOC mentor in the past, that was one of the things that we definitely did, and we selected, a suitable cadence of meetings with these students, so we didn't have it like globally. Each pair of mentors actually hosted their own meeting and decided or communicated with their student and project what the status report cadence would be. But that's actually beside the organizational stuff. So right now we need to focus on what we need to do as an organization to be, a successful applicant
Oh, that's true.
to
Mhm.
to GSOC. So those what you mentioned is very important, but those are, I guess, formalities that we will sort out when we actually are selected as an organization. First, we need to come up with a set of ideas that would be worth GSOC, find enough mentors to actually to lead these projects. Without that, it's just everything is just a hypothesis. Right. So anything else to be added to the GSOC and GSOC-like programs updates? Right, going once, and twice, moving on. So the last thing on the agenda before we leave is another recurrent topic. Sadly, we don't have more people who actually were involved in this, discussing it previously, and that's blogs. So the last time this was discussed, and that was, I think, the very first meeting of February 20th, so you can find it in the agenda. We tried to find platforms that would work out nicely, as a blog platform for Konflux. There were a couple of ideas. One of the most common ones that was mentioned a couple of times during the meeting was Medium, but then someone mentioned that the paywall is annoying. I personally don't know. Well, it's okay. I know that you have to kind of sign up, but sometimes you can just close the window. I'm not sure whether that's limited or you just close it and you can basically browse any article that is somehow public. So yeah, has anyone had a chance to look at blogging into further depth so that we can discuss platforms, or shall we just make it an action item to explore and share some ideas?
I dealt with various blogging in the past for projects, so I can help out in the future on that. But in general, it would be best to use a existing resource versus setting something up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's even was on the agenda, but a lot of times, or it used to be that everybody would want to set up their own blog software, and I can say that the overhead for that can actually kill a GSOC project more than anything else.
Right. So can you pitch some platform ideas that would work nicely?
Since this, it depends on. I don't know I actually do not know the full structure of what the Konflux project is set up as. I'm coming from this as a Red Hat employee who saw it on a meeting invite. So I don't know exactly what the background is for how the project is set up. That can influence a lot of what platforms are useful. You said it was a nonprofit earlier.
Yes.
What kind of nonprofit?
No, it's just a open source project. That's it. I mean,
okay.
like a GitHub organization automatically. I mean, this meeting is supposed to be. It's also public, so it's supposed to be about what we can do to actually build a community around the project, regardless of what people backing the project has, which is currently from Red Hat, the majority.
Okay, understood. Understood. I didn't know if this had a formal nonprofit.
No, not yet.
Okay. In that case, the platforms I would recommend primarily would be, you could use GitHub Pages to do the blogging and set up basically a simple, I mean, this is where you do kind of set it up yourself, but it would be the hosting is actually done by them, and then you use something like Hugo or something to make the pages up. The next would be to use the Google Blogspot or Blogger, which I know a lot of GSOCs have used in the past. Again, you'd set up something as a group on that, and then use that. Third, it used to be more popular, but there are issues, is one of the WordPress projects, companies. But that can end up being expensive. These are probably things that you all have already thought of, so I'm not bringing anything new to the table. But those would be my first three. Since you already have a GitHub grouping, setting up something where your GitHub pages are being published, and then just using a blogging software that uses that.
What do you mean by that? Blogging software? I mean, like linking it on a platform?
Yes. As in, like, if you use GitHub Pages and you use Hugo, you can set up a pretty simple blog, which pages are then the GSUG students would then do like MRs to what their
right
work they've done, and then you'd run a pipeline that would, and then if the work is meeting what you want, you publish it, that kind of thing. And then you can also just talk to them going through what they've written to either improve it or redirect them for their next sprint.
Right. I've actually never personally dealt with blogging, so I'm sorry for my ignorance, but so
it's an old person's thing. So basically, blogging is what is generally needed is a blog would have some sort of RSS feed off of it that would show updates. And then your community manager would update that on like LinkedIn or other places to expose where it is, and then get people interested in it that way.
Yeah. So it was the exposure thing that was unclear to me, because one of the things that was mentioned during the very first meeting when the topic blogging came up was GitHub is all nice because it's a centralized platform, so we are already established in there. It's fine. We can set up pages, but where do we get the exposure? How do we get actually people to know about those blogs? So that's why we try to talk and evaluate the platforms which people regularly visit for blogging and actually find content there.
So this is where blogging becomes the old man's thing, because people don't go look for blogging stuff as much as they used to. It's a generational thing. I mean, these days, what would you do? I guess is do some sort of video thing and put it on a TikTok or something like that. But I am completely out of my element there. Normally, for the older channels, what you do is your community manager would talk to other community managers for them to bring it up in their set audiences, and then go to places that people communicate in. So what you would want to do as a the community manager would like talk to since this is a partially with Linux build systems, you'd want to talk to something like LWN or Linux Weekly News or similar sites, Phoronix and such, to get articles written about it there. Container space, I am not that familiar with what their communities are like, but I would expect that there is some similar sort of web of interested people. I'm more my space is more Linux related, so I know where the Linux people would be looking for things. But again, outside of the old school things, it becomes harder because you need somebody who's more schooled with what the current coders would look for. Does that make sense?
It does. And I've been thinking the whole time about what you were saying. So I wasn't taking any notes. So please, I'm sorry for that. Could you please capture what you just said somehow in a few points in the agenda? Because it was very valid.
Understood.
So myself, yeah. So I'm just thinking about what you just said.
So if I can't get it into the agenda, what I'll do is I'll email you it. Again, old school.
That works. That works nicely. So just please share the content with me, and I'll just put it in.
Okay. Are you the community manager, or are you just a head engineer who's stuck with being the community manager?
I don't think we officially assigned these roles, but let's just say I'm one of the aspiring community managers. So we're driving this meeting with Adam Kaplan, who's not here today. So
Okay.
maybe in the future, officially not, but practically you can say yes.
Yeah, basically, if the community manager becomes a sort of almost full-time job of outreach.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, it's the marketing arm of your project. In some ways, it is marketing and sales. Even if you're not selling something, you are, well, if you're not selling things for money, you are in many ways selling the project's usefulness to others who will pay for it in code and helping out. Does that make? I don't want to. I'm stretching an analogy here, but it's where those sort of skill sets become very important. And I've just been tagged into another meeting. So I'm going to have to drop. I will email you.
Yeah, we are at the end of the agenda already. Extending the meeting. So thank you everyone for attending the meeting. Hopefully there was some useful information during the agenda.
I learned a lot about from I'm going to mispronounce his first name, Daraj.
That's perfect.
I learned a lot about JSOC that I Google Summer of Code I didn't know, but I kind of had heard from when Fedora was doing it. So thank you.
All right. So if you'd like to attend another meeting, so please then don't forget to add topics to the agenda, we will again send out the reminder. If you're not subscribed to the Konflux CI mailing list, it's in the calendar invite, where we will share the reminder for the agenda. And I hope to talk to you later again.
Okay.
All right,
Bye-bye.
bye.
Thank you. Bye.